This is going to be part one of a three-part series, but I'm sure that you would all agree the world has changed in the last couple of years. You know, the pandemics, the wars, society has become a more crime-ridden, violent place. I think you know that. There's so much going on in the world right now, and the question is, will it get better? Or is this Huxley's brave new world that's come upon us? What's the answer? Is there an answer? Well, there's a couple of things for you to think about, and some things I bring up, you might say, well, that's outside your field of expertise, Peter. But let me assure you, I'm pretty well informed to what's happening in the world today, definitely more than most. But it's the spiritual implication of these things, these biblical, what I'm calling sign of the times. And this is what I say, I do know a lot about. Listen, if your car breaks down, you go to a mechanic. If you get ill, you go to a doctor. The crazy thing about religion, or be it spiritual matters, is that everybody thinks they're an expert. Everybody's got an opinion. They've got it all worked out based on what they heard from someone or some book they read once. They may even have read a few pages of the Bible, and they think they've got it all figured out. For myself, not only written a thesis on world religions, but having pastored for over 42 years, by God's grace, I've been blessed to have built by far one of the largest churches in New Zealand, have not only churches, but orphanages, medical clinics around the world, churches in India, Philippines, Tonga, Fiji, Mexico, Canada, etc. We have over 60 medical clinics in China, Myanmar, Nepal. You know, in dealing with spiritual matters for decades, I have seen much of the spiritual world, both the angelic side and the demonic side of life. Not only experiencing demons and the angelic forces in my own life, but having had the blessing of casting out many demons out of people who were either oppressed or possessed by them. Having read and studied God's book, yes, I'm talking about the Bible, through dozens and dozens of times, one can have some understanding and expertise of what's happening and what is going to happen. We're talking according to the one book that has stood the test of time, the Bible. This is my field, this is my life. So let me share with you what I see some of the challenges that the world is currently or is going to face shortly in relation to the sign of the times. Let me talk first of all about AI. AI, this will change the world and is doing so more rapidly than what you think. Some of the leaders in AI are talking of the creation of a new digital species. That is, they say, the evolution of man. I think the Bible may just call this a beast that comes to life in the book of Revelation and causes everyone to take that 666 mark. We all know that AI will be far more intelligent than man, as it already is, and there's a great possibility and a danger, according to those in the know, that AI will replace man. Just like Hollywood has predicted in the movie I, Robot, or at least a merge of AI like the latest movie Atlas predicts. You know, there are some experts in this field that are predicting the end of mankind as we know him, like the extinction of the dinosaurs. Sounds like science fiction, I know, but can I tell you now, that is not going to happen as God will intervene. But the chip in the brain may not be too far away for some. Transhumanism. Some of the more radicals are leading the charge on what they want man to become God, to become immortal. As it's been said by Yuval Noah Harari from the World Economic Forum, and to quote, "We will no longer worship the God above the cloud, we will be the God in the cloud." They want to upload your consciousness. This is a Tower of Babel all over again. There's nothing new under the sun. God intervened then, and he will do so again. So apart from the spiritual implications of AI and the practical side of things, there's a talk of bringing in universal wage because so many people will be out of a job. Let's be honest, if the world survives another 30 years and if Jesus is not back by then, the world is going to be a vastly different place. Take a minute and think how vastly the world is today compared to that of 120 years ago. It's not that long ago. Not that long ago, there were no cars, no airplanes, no modern appliances, no healthcare to speak of, let alone the short 40-year history of the home computer, cell phone, and internet. The thing is, with the advancement of AI, you cannot stop it. As they say, the train has left the station. Not only is there vast amounts of money involved, with AI companies being the fastest growing financial companies in the world with massive dollars, this brings in about huge competitions with the likes of Apple, Microsoft, and so forth. But more so with AI, there's the ability to have power and control. And so China, Russia, and the US, they won't be stopping evolving the technology anytime soon. Even with all the warnings from people like Jeffrey Hinton, known as the godfather of AI, who left Google as his warnings weren't being heeded. The world is spinning towards the right of our lives. You know, it was prophesied in the book of Daniel that not only would travel increase, but also knowledge would increase in the last days. That leads me to my point number 2, sign of the times, digital ID and digital currency. You know, the Australian government recently has just passed digital ID legislation, which is to be rolled out this November. New Zealand is also down the track, and along with that, the banks and the powers to be are rapidly working on the coming digital currency. Of course, this will be introduced slowly, will be sold to the masses, for this is for your benefit, to combat crime and scams, etc. But no mistake, the cashless society is upon us, a mark of the beast, which the Bible talks about in the book of Revelation. This is coming, and it says, without that mark, no one will be able to buy or sell. It may start off voluntarily, but then it will become mandated. Hello. This is just around the corner. It's coming ready or not. It's another sign of the times. Number 3, words. The war of words is rife among us. When people want to close your opinion down, they just scream misinformation, racist, far right, homophobic, Islamophobic, intolerant, colonialism, whatever, even white supremacy or at the worst, Hitler. You know, the end of democracy, they say. Words like inclusivity, sustainability, diversity, don't you get sick of them? On and on it goes like a stuck record. But most people are waking up to it. But words are powerful. God created this world by his word. Words are a creative force. So I ask you and I encourage you, be careful what you say and what you listen to. The Bible does say that we're going to be held accountable for every idle word. And more so, when the Antichrist arises, listen to me now, the Bible says he will speak blasphemous things. The 4th sign of the times, climate change. Climate change, a great threat. The agenda to control youth through fear and propaganda. Al Gore and others told us back in the 90s that it'll be all over by now, well and truly. False prediction after false prediction. The media has only one narrative. Those many scientists who have other opinions are shut down. They're misaligned, just as we saw in the pandemic, and are still being shut down today. You need to know that the climate is always changing. It's been changing for centuries, thousands of years. In the past, the world was actually hotter than what it is today, and it survived. But electric cars that have non-disposable or non-degradable, biodegradable batteries, which, by the way, are charged by coal-fired power stations, they're not the answer. In fact, it's a joke. They're breaking down in the heat and cold in the US. Nor the windmill farms the answer, with non-disposable propellers that are also breaking down. And now they don't know what to do with those huge blades. Likewise, the acres of good farmland that are being put into solar paneling. I've seen these fields in Europe. It's like a sci-fi movie, mile upon mile of them. These panels are not only taking up good and productive farmland, they're now found to be leaching into the ground and ruining the soil for future use. You know, I won't go on about how the greenies are wanting to kill off all the cows because they fluctuate too much. That is just unbelievable, sad but true. And don't worry, I can tell you now, this world will not be destroyed by climate change. Sin is doing a great job of that. Well, that finishes part 1. I'm going to go on to part 2 and part 3 in relation to what I call the sign of the times. And I hope and pray that you stick with me, because we all need to know what's coming, because you're going to be affected one way or the other.